Alright, so in today's video I'm gonna talk about what kind of Python projects you should build to get a job as a Python developer or software engineer. It really depends what you're going for. But if you're going to build any of these projects on your own, and if you're going to learn about the concepts and the things that you need to know to build such projects, and you will actually understand these concepts, you will understand these projects and the features that you built into those projects, you will definitely be able to get a job as a Python developer, as a software engineer. So yeah, that's definitely possible. And subscribe to the channel, like the video if you want to know more about what steps you would need to know in order to become a Python developer. I'm going to share more knowledge on this channel, so subscribe, leave a like, and yeah, let's get into the video. Alright, when you first realize that you want to become a Python developer and you really think about what steps that you need to take in order to actually reach this goal, maybe you know the fundamentals, but at some point you realize that I actually need to build some kind of real project so that I can showcase my skills. But then the question arises, what kind of projects could you build to actually get a job? What projects make sense to build? For example, you probably heard this a lot from other people that, well, maybe coding bootcamps and so on and so forth, that you should build to-do apps and you should build calculator apps. But the honest reality about this is that, imagine from company's perspective, you're looking for a developer and you have a real project, and real projects are usually about payments, something about selling e-commerce products online. It's not about to-do apps, it's not usually about weather apps, it's not really about calculators. It's about real projects where you have some kind of user profiles, you have some kind of payment systems and so on and so forth. Why would they hire someone who knows how to build a calculator app? Why would they hire someone who knows how to build a to-do app or weather app? Yeah, you might be able to showcase your skills as a software developer in those small projects, but if someone looks for a developer and they can see that this developer can build an actual real project, it's a no-brainer. Why would they not hire you? You should know some kind of industry that you want to go in. For example, I'm currently working in a fintech industry, so if I'm interested in fintech, I should be building projects related to fintech. If I want to get a job in a fintech industry related to Python, I should be building projects with Python, projects that are related to fintech industry. It doesn't make sense for me to build a calculator app. It doesn't make sense for me to build a weather app if I want to get into the fintech industry. So first of all, the first step for you is to choose what kind of industry you want to go into. Do some kind of slight research, figure out what exactly you want to do, what kind of industry you want to go into, and only then start to think about what kind of projects you could build. What projects are actually available in such an industry, like fintech industry? What kind of projects would be available in fintech industry? And then you would go for that industry, you would build that kind of project. And this might seem a bit crazy in the beginning, like it seems, wow, you're going to build a real project, it's going to take so much time. It's so much more complicated than just building a simple calculator app. But the difference is that if you want to build, if you want to stand out and you want to actually become a real professional, you have to be different from all the other people. What everyone else is doing, they are building, they are going to these very expensive coding boot camps. They're spending 2 weeks coding for 80 hours a week, and then they are coming out of these coding boot camps and just having some simple calculator apps and portfolios with not really much tools being used there. It's just it's a waste of time. And you should be thinking how you could be better than those people, how you could actually build real projects, how you could actually bring value to the company that you want to go for, and how you could actually bring value to the industry you want to go for. You have to compare yourself to your average competition, and you should become better. You should feel like you're better than your average competition, And only then, only that at that point, you will see some kind of results from the projects that you build and the time that you invest into those projects. So for example, if I talk about my fintech industry, I'm like close to being 4 years into this industry. I don't need to build these tools. I don't need to build these projects. I already have the experience. But let's say if you would want to go into the fintech industry, what kind of projects would you build? I would recommend to build some kind of financial application tool, something that helps you with your finances, or maybe some kind of financial management tool that lets you calculate your bank statements, maybe do an API call to the banking service. I don't know if that's even possible without authorization. There might be some limitations, but if you could build a financial application tool that helps you manage your finances with an API calls to actual projects, actual banking apps, that would really show your experience. It would be really different from what everyone else is doing with some kind of calculator apps. If we talk about actual projects that you could build as a software engineer, as an aspiring Python developer who wants to become a Python developer, who wants to get a job as a Python developer, here are 11 Python projects that you could build to actually become a Python developer, to actually get a job in this industry. So here's the list. The first project that you could build is a simple blog. Don't overcomplicate it. Take, for example, any kind of WordPress blog and just try to build the features from scratch. I would look at any kind of blog. I would look what kind of features this blog has, and I would take those features and I would try to build those features into my project, my blog, from scratch. I would build a page that lists all of the blogs, like all of the blog posts. One of the pages would be about building like to list all of the blog posts that are in this project. That would be the first page. The second page would be maybe list like blog categories. And let's say if my blog is about Python, about tech, that would be Python posts, Python category, Django category, maybe databases, something like that. So that's one thing. And you just go through some kind of examples of blogs, collect all the features that these blogs have, and you try to build such a project from scratch with Python and Django, for example. That's one approach to build a simple blog. The second type of project that you could build is an e-commerce platform. Of course, this is not going to be an easy task, but again, you would take, for example, any kind of Etsy store or eBay store and just build a very similar platform from scratch. What you would do is you would take the features, you will again go into the Etsy store or eBay store and collect all the features that they have, list in your notes the features they have, and you would try to go and actually build those features from scratch in Python. And for example, for e-commerce platform, you could also use Django for that. You don't have to overcomplicate things. You can basically use Django for any kind of website and build it from scratch. The project number 3 would be any kind of social media platform. I don't like Facebook, but you could take, for example, Facebook, and you could build very similar thing from scratch. You don't have to overcomplicate it. It seems that Facebook might be complicated, but you don't have to build all of the features. You could build just some of the features that Facebook has. For example, some kind of news feed, some kind of messaging. Maybe messaging could be quite difficult, but maybe some, like, start with the simple features. You have a profile, you have your name, you can log in, you can log out, show your username, registration and stuff like that. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't have to go for these very complicated features. Once you learn how to do those features, you could become more comfortable and try to do more features like uploading videos, maybe uploading images and stuff like that. That's another way how I would approach building a social media platform. Project number 4, this would be some kind of visual tool. Like, it depends in what kind of industry you want to go into, but for example, if you would want to go for something financial and something about showing data and showing charts, you should be thinking about building a visual tool to visualize charts and visualize data. And this is definitely something that you can do with Python and you can do with Django. If you're familiar with trading tools, like you could take TradingView, which is an actual project, and build something very similar, build some kind of tool that shows crypto charts, for example, and gives you some kind of predictions, or like that would be even more complicated, but that's definitely a project that you could build if you want to go into vintage road and maybe analysis road. That could be definitely a project that you could build with Python and Django. Alright, so the project number 5 would be some kind of task manager that would let you manage different kind of tasks during the day. And one of the example project that you could take to collect features from is Trello, which is a very simple tool, and it's a very flexible tool that you can use to manage your tasks. This is the tool that I'm actually using in my work, in my daily tasks. So you could take Trello and look at the features that Trello has and actually build a very similar project. This could work with any kind of industry related to software development, because when it comes to managing projects, almost everyone is using something similar to Trello or something similar to Jira. So that's a very typical project. And if you build enough features in this Trello copy project of yours, it could become a very useful tool and very useful project that you could use over and over again, not just to get your first job, but maybe later even to get your second and third job if you would want to. But of course, over time you would gain more experience and maybe you would add more and more features to this project. But just to give you some ideas, it's very possible to build a project that would be about task management similar to Trello in Python and Django. That's definitely possible. The project number 6 would be some kind of customer relationship management system. I'm not really familiar with such systems, but you could just Google any kind of customer relationship management system. Like, take one of the first websites that you get on Google, look at the features that they have, and just list them in your notes and start work on this project. It seems like a very simple thing to do, but once you will actually start work on this, you will realize this is not that easy, and this is going to take you time, and this is going to actually require for you to think about what kind of features you should build and how you should build them. It's not going to be that easy. Project number 7 is some kind of learning platform. So yeah, for this example, you could take Kajabi. That's a very known learning platform where you can upload videos, where you can create some kind of course, where you can create some kind of sub courses, and in each course you can have some kind of documents and some kind of videos. That's again a project where you could do features like login, sign up, I don't know, some kind of pricing, maybe even payment system with Stripe. A lot of features that you can build in such projects, and this is actually a real project that people will use and use all the time. Another platform, like learning platform that comes to my mind, is Udemy, but I'm not really using Udemy, so I'm not familiar with those features. But that's again something that you can just go into, copy all the features. Like, I don't mean copy, but you can take a note of all the features that they have and simply build such features in your project. And if you get stuck into building those features, you will learn, you will gain some experience, you will try to figure out how to do things properly. A project number 8 would be some kind of job search platform. Currently, to my mind, what comes is LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is really not a job board platform. It's more like a social media platform, very close to Facebook. It's just for professionals. But when I talk about job board, job search platform, I mean something very simple. What you would have, like one of the first features that comes to my mind that you would have in such a project is you would have some kind of job listing, and users should be able to search through this job listing and look for specific jobs. So definitely there would be some kind of filters. There should be some kind of easy way to look for those jobs. And let's say another feature could be a sign up and a login. And let's say for registered users, you should let them receive some kind of notifications about specific jobs. For example, let's say your customer signs up and he selects in the filter that he wants to receive some kind of notifications about specific jobs. For example, he's looking for a Python job, so he would want to receive notifications about any job listing or any new job opportunity that contains a keyword Python. So that's one feature. But of course you can Google search and you can find more examples of these kind of projects and figure out what features they actually have and just build your own project like that. Alright, so the idea for project 9 would be some kind of news platform. So this is very similar to a blog site where you would list a bunch of blogs, but this could be like aimed towards news. So this depends on you, your goals, what you want to do. Do you want to build more like a blog site? Do you want to build more like a news website? Because there are slight differences in features what you could include in typical news site or what you could include in just a blog site. And when it comes to news, just take any kind of news platform that's out there, for example BBC, and just look at their website. What kind of features they have? Do they list specific type of articles? Do they list specific type of categories? What are they actually doing? And figure out what features they have and just build similar project to that if you want to work in like that kind of industry. But I don't think there's a specific industry for news sites, but again, this is one of the projects. It's a real project. There is a large difference between building a simple calculator app and building like a real project that looks like a real website. Project number 10 is a chat application. That's something that I actually built myself. This is years ago, but it's available on my GitHub, and this is one of the projects that I built as a task to get a job. I actually got a job with this chat application, but I rejected that job offer and actually went for a different job offer. But yeah, you can build a chat application that's a real-time application in Python or example of that kind of chat application, and you can get a job with such a project as well. Nowadays, it doesn't seem that complicated for me, so it's publicly available. Nowadays I'm focusing more on Django projects, not really interested in building chat applications, but that's definitely something that you can explore. But I can tell you for sure that's not one of the easiest projects. That's not an easy project to do. That's more advanced project. But if you just want to explore how it looks, how the code looks, you can find that project on my Git in the description if you want to. And the last project that I would say that you can build is some kind of survey tool. You can build some kind of questionnaire, and I think there was one project available that lets you create surveys. I don't remember the exact name of that project, but that's definitely something that you can look for and you can find online, like examples. And when it comes to survey and questionnaire, it's like a simple, like you have seen surveys, you have seen questionnaires. Just take one of the examples, Google for a survey tool, look at the features, and just build a similar tool for that. That's way better than just using, like building some kind of calculator app, just very similar to what everyone else is doing. Now I'm saying just build a survey tool and questionnaire tool, but you can bring it to the next level and make it a Django application, make it a premium product. Let's start with a simple thing like let the users create surveys, let them create questions, let them create, like define different type of answers, like multi-select answer, selecting different kind of types of answers. Like you can bring this up and make it look like an actual project, like a premium project. When I'm saying build a tool, doesn't mean that you're building like a very simple project. You're building, like build a real premium project that everyone would like to use. You can find my contact details below. You can send me a message explaining your situation. For example, I used to be a quality assurance engineer, and I know how it is when you're just looking for what kind of projects you want to build, but you don't really know where to start, how to start. I can definitely help you with those steps. Just send me a message, tell me about your situation. If I will see a potential in you, if I will see that there is a potential in you and you can actually become a Python developer, we can discuss details on a call probably. Just send me a message, tell me about your situation, and I will see if I can do anything to help you out and anything to get you started with the projects that you want to build, and also give you guidance on the steps that you need to take in order to actually become a developer and actually get hired as a Python developer. Find my contact details below and send me a message if you're interested.